In this video, I beat Tears of the Kingdom, except it's actually Breath of the Wild. The rules are simple. Number 1, if it's not in Breath of the Wild, we can't use it. This includes even having the item in our inventory or accidentally using one of the runes. Number 2, if we break rule number 1, we have to reset to the last clean save. Sounds easy, right? I'll let you be the judge. Just like Breath of the Wild's Great Plateau, Tears of the Kingdom has its own tutorial part of the game. This is Great Sky Island. We start out by running into a construct that explains he's been waiting for us and delivers Zelda's prized possession, the Purapad. Now hold up, the Purapad wasn't in Breath of the Wild, so you can't use it. Well, we can. This brings me to another rule for the run. I call it the rule of equivalence. If Breath of the Wild has an item or feature that is in majority similar to something we can achieve in Tears of the Kingdom, we can use it. Breath of the Wild had its own version called the Sheikah Slate, and that fulfilled exactly the same purpose, so it's only fair that we can use the Purapad, right? After getting the Purapad, we need to make our way to the Temple of Time. Here we try to open the door, and we get denied. It's not going to be that easy. After this, though, Rauru, the first king of Hyrule, explains that we need to visit the 3 shrines scattered across Great Sky Island and receive their blessing before we can open the first door. This would be an easy feat if this were a normal run, but remember, we cannot use any runes unless it was in Breath of the Wild. That means I'll need to find some way to cross gaps, blow up rocks, and ascend large distances without any of the corresponding runes. Is it even possible? Well, unfortunately, the answer is no. And with that, the run was over. Is what I would say if we didn't have one trick: infinite height glitch. This Tears of the Kingdom equivalent to wind bombing was single-handedly the most important trick in the run. The infinite height glitch allows Link to travel horizontally or vertically without expending any stamina or using any runes. This is exactly what we needed to beat the Great Sky Island shrines. Alright, after relieving this construct of his shield, this construct of his bow, and snagging a rusty broadsword, we had everything we needed to complete the first shrine, Ultrahand. Ultrahand is similar to Magnesis in Breath of the Wild, except it allows you to connect objects together and gives much more freedom as to what kind of objects you can actually pick up. Usually, to complete the Ultrahand shrine, you'd grab hold of these concrete slabs and bridge the gap so you can walk across. Since we didn't have that luxury, we instead had to use infinite height to cross the gaps. So now what we do is we hit dive B, and there we go. We made it across. And then we came to the next puzzle. While usually you would build a raft and hook it onto this rail to get across, we had to find another way to get to the other side. Turns out it really isn't that hard. If we get on top of this small pillar, we can just shield surf onto the rail and make our way to the end of the shrine. And with that, we completed 1 of 3 shrines. Next up was Fuse. Fuse is an ability that allows you to, well, fuse an object to a weapon, arrow, or shield you're carrying in order to make them more powerful or serve a specific purpose. Unfortunately, Breath of the Wild had no similar feature, so Infinite Height Glitch was going to have to carry us through this shrine as well. That is, until we came to a small problem. We needed to get through this door, which required a key. The key lies in this chest that you retrieve by burning the platform under it. Normally, you either throw a fire fruit at the vines or fuse one to your arrow to get it down, but these were both things that we couldn't do. If it wasn't for Nintendo placing this fire here in the corner, I don't think the shrine would have been possible. So we lit our arrow, shot it at the vines, and retrieved the key. With that key, we went through the door, and the rest of the shrine was no match for Infinite Height Glitch. We were able to receive our second blessing. Only 1 more to go. Ascend. Ascend would be entirely impossible if we were doing this glitchless, but Infinite Height strikes again and makes receiving the last blessing a breeze. Back at the Temple of Time, opening the door was no problem. We then came to a tear-shaped secret stone that rewards us with a cutscene of Zelda giving us a handshake? Oh, gotcha. She's giving us our last rune, right. That's Recall. Recall is probably the coolest rune in Tears of the Kingdom, as not only can it be used to briefly freeze objects in time like stasis, but it also rewinds them back to their original position. A rune that would be extremely useful if we could use it. Hey, we press forward though, and after a few shield jumps, we get to the second door. This door's different though, as instead of needing the orbs of light for it to open, we needed to have 4 hearts. That means we needed 1 more orb of light. Robert then tells us where we can get this last orb of light, the Recall Shrine. We teleport back to the Room of Awakening, do some fun cog jumps to get to the other side, and enter into the Recall Shrine. Recall is yet another shrine designed directly around its corresponding rune. Yay. Normally you would recall these ravs in order to get across the water and up the waterfall, but you guessed it, we just used infinite height. Yeah. Like I said, we couldn't do this challenge without it, but doing that brought us to a new problem. These dials. These dials rotate in opposite directions, only opening the door underneath them when they line up perfectly. While it would be easy to just use Recall or Ultrahand and have them rotate in the same direction to open the door, we can't do that, and so we had to find another way. Luck was on our side yet again for the shrine, as Nintendo made it so that when the dials lined up, the door opened just enough to fit a Link-sized person through. Come on, Link. You can go. No. Yes, we did it! Yet another victory for infinite height. We received our last blessing, and straight to the temple of time we go to finish up Great Sky Island.
Link, you must find me.
Yeah, that was just the tutorial for the game. This was just the beginning. So finally, we dove down to Hyrule. Once we made it to the ground, the first step was getting our hands on a paraglider. To get the paraglider, we went straight to Lookout Landing, where we were greeted by a lovely surprise.
Okay, now where have you been? What exactly happened?
Yeah, she's kind of hot. Anyway. Oh, Pura! Y'all set? I just wrapped up here myself. We're ready, Josha. Pull that switch.
Hey!
All of the Skyview towers have now been activated. Pretty great, Only thing is, you need a paraglider when you're scanning, which brings us to this. Paraglider! Woo! All right, and here we go. Just kidding. That's not in Breath of the Wild, so I'm not going to do that. No Skyview towers. I just decided. Now we can work on getting up to Hyrule Castle. The only way that we can get up to Hyrule Castle is, you guessed it, infinite height glitch. And that's pretty far out there. And glide. All right. We have made it up to the castle. It only took like 10 minutes, maybe even 5, 7. It's a lot easier once you know what you're doing. So Royal Guard's bow is in Breath of the Wild, so we're good. Royal Guard's cap. Hey, we can wear that. Hey, at least he's not naked anymore. I love Link naked. Wait, no, that's not what I meant to say. I love Link when he's only wearing his Royal Guard's cap. With weapons and bows in hand, we had just one more thing to grab from Hyrule Castle. Okay, so I did a little bit of research. In order to get the Tunic of Memories, which is technically the Breath of the Wild Champion's Tunic, you have to go into the depths. So one thing that you don't have Breath of the Wild, the depths. And then you have to collect Pose, which is also not in Breath of the Wild, in order to get the original Champion's Tunic. So to compromise, because we are trying to do as little Breath of the Wild things as possible, we will do less Breath of the Wild things if we get the Champion's Leathers than if we get the Tunic of Memories. This garment, worn by those in good standing with Hyrule royalty, has been reworked with the latest improvements, such as a new shoulder guard. It's been reworked. That essentially means that they took the old tunic and they reworked it. So it's the same thing. It's like the Master Sword, but reworked, right? Right, that's what we're gonna go for. So now that we have these weapons, let's go get the hairband and the panties that we need to complete this set. Hylian trousers were an easy find, as we just used the rupees that we found at Hyrule Castle to purchase them in the Lookout Landing shop. All that was left was the hairband. The well-worn hairband lies somewhere in Hateno Village, and since we couldn't use Skyview towers, we had to take the long trek by foot. But after a bit, we eventually made it. Alrighty, and we have made it over here. Now in Breath of the Wild, this used to be Link's house, but now it's Zelda's house. Zelda's journal. Read Zelda's journal? Heck yeah. I commissioned Bolson, who taught his trade to Hudson of Hudson Construction, to construct the school for us. He seemed deeply moved by the request. This will be his final job in the Tenno village before he sets off on a journey. I had him add a secret room to my house, one that won't appear on the plans. It's dim, but humidity and temperature controlled, so it's very comfortable, aka a well. And that would be down here, Zelda's secret well. All right, and in this chest right here, we get the well-worn hairband. And lastly, before we can defeat Demon King Ganondorf, we have to get the Master Sword. In Breath of the Wild, you couldn't get the Master Sword until you got a minimum of 13 hearts. Luckily, in Tears of the Kingdom, it's a little easier. To pull the Master Sword, you only needed 2 full wheels of stamina. This means that we need 5 additional stamina vessels, and each of them cost 4 light orbs each. It looks like we're going on a shrine quest. This means traveling to shrine after shrine, hoping that infinite height would be enough to beat it, and most of the time it wasn't. Oh my gosh. What's up with these balls, okay? Like, can we just stop it with the balls? I can't do that. So tired of balls. It's a ball shrine. All right. Rakakuda's shrine. I think that should be it. That should give us a Waru's blessing, right? That's Waru's blessing. Let's go. That there is the last orb that we need. And after 5 hours of going from shrine to shrine, we eventually collected all the necessary orbs. It was finally time to get the Master Sword. To get the Master Sword, we first needed to find the Light Dragon. The Light Dragon travels on a specific path throughout the whole game, and the odds that we both happened to meet somewhere on this path was extremely low. But it seems like the trend continued, and luck was yet again on our side. All right, let's start like over here. See if we can find a Light Dragon. She was right there. She was freaking right there. Oh my gosh, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Get me up here. Oh my gosh. She is there. That's huge. Okay. Wow. What are the odds? Luckily, we found the Light Dragon right away, saving us several hours of searching. With a short glide and good old infinite height, we made it up to the Light Dragon. I'm not gonna glide until it like gives us the wind animation. That's the wind. That should be good. One more. Glide. Oh my goodness, we did it. It's time to finally pull the Master Sword. Oh, she does not like that. Come on, Link, hold on. Oh, wait, not exactly enough. Yes! It would have been so much better up there, but there it is, the Master Sword. The legendary sword that seals the darkness. Its corruption was healed by its time with the Light Dragon. The blade gleams with a sacred luster that can oppose the Demon King. Exactly what we're about to do. With armor, bows, and the Master Sword, we had everything we needed to defeat Ganon. It was time to head down into the chasm underneath Hyrule Castle and defeat the Demon King. Except that's exactly what we're not gonna do. You see, if you use the Hyrule Castle chasm route, you will be greeted by fallen rocks blocking your path. You see, this is something I physically could not break as it required us to fuse a rock to a weapon. It seems that we had to rely on infinite height one last time. In Tears of the Kingdom, any % speedrun right now, speedrunners clip through the ceiling in the well just outside Hyrule Castle. This allows them to drop down into the depths and get to the Ganon Fight. And we were left with no choice but to use this route. So I dropped down into the well, climbed onto this wall, and used infinite height to clip through the ceiling. After jumping into the water, we dove off the edge into the dark abyss below. What's nice is we only had to do this once, as you can actually land on this small ledge, the game will autosave, and a quick reload can get us inside. We finally made it to the end of the game. Only one more thing lies between us and the Demon King. Ganondorf's army. You see, when you dive down into this arena, you expect to be greeted by the Demon King. Instead, you're greeted by the Demon King's army. 4 waves of different monsters trying to stop you from completing your task. Bokoblins, Lizalfos, Gyptos, and Moblins. With such a large wave of monsters and such limited resources, how could I ever make it past this fight? Well, let me show you. Just like in Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom also came equipped with bullet time. This allows you to fire multiple arrows in a short amount of time as long as you have the stamina and height to do it. This feature came in extremely handy in the first 2 phases of the fight. With the Royal Guards bows I got from Hyrule Castle, I jumped off any large enough ledge and I fired at as many Bokoblins as I could. Doing this enough times and picking up the arrows they dropped along the way, I was able to make it past the first phase. Alright, that just leaves the boss. Awesome. Next up, the Lizalfos. The Lizalfos are extremely unpredictable and fast creatures. One wrong move and they were sure to take you out in a heartbeat. I had to be very careful, but using bullet time, I was eventually able to make it past the second phase. I now had to defeat some Gyptos. The Gyptos were single-handedly the hardest part of the fight. You see, the Gyptos have an extremely tough outer layer of skin that protects them from any normal attack. The only way you can deal any significant amount of damage to them was with fire or lightning. And since Link isn't Zeus and lightning wasn't necessarily easy to obtain, we had to go with fire. If I built a campfire and instead lit a torch, I'd have a flame to use against the Gyptos that wouldn't go out after hitting them. It seems this was my only choice. Sprinting as far away from the Gyptos as possible, I built a campfire and lit my torch. Alright, that's fine. Cool. Ow. Okay, get with our sword. Okay, that's good. Nice. Alright. Surprisingly, without any issues, I was able to take out all the crawling Gyptos, and that just left the flying ones. I lit my arrows on fire and shot at the flying Gyptos until there were none left. Boom. Nice. Alright, Gyptos are done. And that left one more phase before I defeated the army, the Moblins. Honestly, this phase doesn't even need an explanation. They were pretty weak, and bullet time was able to make quick work of them. Wow. Wow. This is a lot easier than I thought it was. That guy. That guy, and the last one. Their AI is really good. Oh. Okay. There we go. I had finally made it past the army fight. Right after the army fight, the game tries to make you defeat all 4 of the main bosses, just like in Breath of the Wild. But I really didn't want to fight them. Man, if only there were some way that we could skip them. That should be it. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so this is the spot. And if we do our infinite height clip again, we'll have a chance at Ganon. We have to be careful because it, like you saw, it does put us in gloom. So we got to take a little second. Not even sure if it's doable because we're so low. Oh, huge! We were about to freaking die there. Oh my goodness. All right, we get a shot at Ganon. Even with our 1 heart, we barely survived the gloom damage and skipped the bosses. At last, it was time for the true boss, Demon King Ganondorf. Let's go. That music bumping. Oh, this is so good. I haven't watched this in ages.
Do not look away.
Ooh, the little glint.
You witness a king's revival.
No, you witness a queen saving.
And the birth of his new world.
Let's go. We're doing it. We're finally beating this stupid challenge. Oh, you did the thing. I knew that was gonna happen. That's more than okay. That's more than okay. Yeah, we died a bunch of times trying to defeat Ganon, but eventually we were able to finish him off. Yes! Let's go, baby! We did it! Ganon is defeated. One last thing to do. Dragon Ganon time. Yes. So good. There's one eye. There's two. Three. Come on. Yes, baby. We did it. And the last eye is done. Only one more thing to get. Oh goodness, here it goes. Oh my. Oh. Some 15 hours. Something like that. It's gotta be. Maybe not, maybe like 13, but still, oh my goodness. And we finally get to say that we beat Tears of the Kingdom, except it's Breath of the Wild. Let's go.